In the next scene, we suddenly shift to a bakery called Tasty Geezer Breads. Inside, we are shown two bakers working on bread. When given a closer look, it turns out that they are Count Saint Germain and the human-like alien, where Count Saint Germain praises the alien for rolling the dough and asks her to just continue in that manner. The human-like alien then shouted back at him, asking what is the meaning of this. Count Saint Germain reminded her that hadn't he already said he wanted her to help him here, to which she replied that that wasn't what she meant, pointing out if he wasn't supposed to kill that Takakura kid, referring to Okarun, where Count Saint Germain said wasn't that her objective. The alien responded that the suit he gave her was totally useless. Because of that, he asked if that didn't simply mean that she was just far too weak. He told her that she would never accomplish anything if she kept herself too busy pointing fingers and blaming others. He then pointed out to her that what mattered right now was that he wanted her to do solid work in this bakery, adding that that was the reason why he had hired her after all. The human-like alien then asked why she had to make bread, to which he answered that it was because she was a baker, which made her yell out that she was not a baker. Because of that, Count Saint Germain then informed her that outside of working hours, she was free to do anything she pleased with her time. However, he added, since he had hired her, he pointed out that she was a baker. After that, he dropped the eerie tone and invited the alien once again to make tasty geezer bread together, which made her shout at him to stop being ridiculous. Just then, the smoking oven caught his attention, making him mutter, "Oh dear," and comment that it looked like he had overbaked it. But it wasn't smoke from the oven at all, as suddenly an Inra came out of it, with the wounds he had sustained while fighting Gigi still visible. Inra and Count Saint Germain looked at each other, and he sarcastically asked who he might be. Inra replied that he wished he wouldn't react like that every single time they met, while the human-like alien asked who he was, and Count Saint Germain said that his wish was for Inra not to enter the kitchen because he reeked of tobacco, inviting him to talk somewhere else. As they went outside of the kitchen, still on his knees, Inra apologized to Count Saint Germain, addressing him as Sir, and explained that the lizards sent by the Serpo to help only got in his way. He then took out a thin box and said he was returning the Kozuka knife that had been lent to him. That plan, he said, had been his, so he was taking full responsibility for its failure. He then added that he would eventually reclaim the abilities given to those individuals. Count Saint Germain refused this and explained that things may remain as they were now, adding that his intention was not wrong. He then pointed out that they had obtained deeply fascinating data on yokai suitability and the development of their powers. He said that in fact, Inra had discovered an extraordinary gift in Cookie Yukishiro, and he had managed to level up her Lord of the Flies ability. But he added that since he had come out into the open, the Sorcerers Association would probably take action, explaining that it was going to be hard for them to act from now on. Inra then informed him that the Serpo had asked them for help, but they never showed their faces, to which Count Saint Germain replied that he didn't trust them, and likely they felt the same way about them. He then pointed out that only humans were capable of using yokai powers, and those aliens weren't making any attempt to understand that fact. After that, he suggested that what they should do instead was befriend Okarun and the others with him, so they could create the ultimate yokai. As he said this, we were then shown a strange scene of a man sitting on a device connected with countless tubes to Buddha-like figures placed in a larger circular design. While this was happening, we shifted to the situation of the human-like alien, who was arranging the bread on display. She showed her irritation at Count Saint Germain and called him a bastard, asking what he thought he was doing. Suddenly, a little girl called her baker lady, which got her attention. The girl handed her something and said it was for her. She stared at what was being given and saw that it was an origami crane, which surprised her. The girl's mother explained that they always came there because the bread was additive-free and so tasty, so her daughter wanted to make something for her too. Because of this, the human-like alien felt something soothing within her and took the origami crane from the child's hand. After that, the mother bid farewell while her daughter waved goodbye, and she looked at the gift she received with a happy aura. Outside, Inra saw them while he posed as a bystander in a long hoodie. As he looked at the bakery, he began commenting that he didn't understand why Count Saint Germain and the alien were pretending to be common people, then asked himself what he was hoping to achieve. Was he doing that just to make friends with them? He wondered, and he questioned the idea that a noble would ever be friends with commoners, commenting that it was impossible with an angry grin. In the next scene, we return to the hospital in Shimane where Seiko was confined, and here Gigi told her about Ininra's self-proclaimed title as the Red Baron. When she heard this, she asked if that was really what he called himself, which Gigi confirmed. He explained that he didn't know if that was his actual name, but it looked like that was what he wanted to be called. Seiko understood that and said she thought she was starting to get the picture now. After that, she explained to Gigi that a long time ago, an exorcist friend of hers had been grievously injured during a mission overseas. She added that it was caused by a formidable enemy that even the local shaman couldn't exorcise. She continued that in a way he was prepared for it, but the enemy was not yokai but humans. She then told Gigi that they called themselves the Black Paladins, and that they collected powers from yokai and curses, and then became diviners in large companies to crush rival corporations. Furthermore, she said that diviners attached to companies were supposed to provide advice on business direction and investments, but those people instead launched attacks using curses. And a well-known figure in that industry was an assassin who called himself the Flying Ace. She commented that just hearing the name was enough to make some companies run for cover. She didn't stop there and continued explaining that they mostly operated overseas, but it seemed they were operating here now too. Gigi then commented with a worried tone if wasn't that bad, and asked if that meant there were even more of them. Seiko then said that the Sorcerers Association had already issued various warnings, and that the enemy shouldn't be able to act that easily. After that, she apologized and tried to explain that she was supposed to be the one protecting them, but it seemed like it was the other way around. But Gigi didn't let her finish and told her that she always protected them, and that he had only been able to defeat Ininra thanks to her. As they were talking, we were shown Vamola joyfully hugging Momo, and since Momo couldn't remember them, he tried to make her stop and asked who she was. But before long he remembered that she was the woman he had seen in his room at the inn, while Vamola was already crying with happiness upon seeing her. Seiko then said, well, in any case, she was happy that they were okay. But their problem now was that Momo even forgot how to use her powers. In the next scene, we shift to Okarun, who was walking toward their school with his right hand raised, index finger pointing upward like an antenna, while his left hand rested at the center of his abdomen. While doing this, he told himself to gather the energy at the point beneath his navel and visualize himself beaming chi from the top of his head. Two female students noticed him while he was doing it, and one of them pointed at him, causing both to laugh out loud, while Okarun blushed in embarrassment. He passed by a few more students, but as he continued, he thought that even though it was embarrassing, he just had to grin and endure it. He added that, for now, this was something he needed to do. Suddenly, someone bumped into his raised arm, catching his attention. When he turned, it turned out to be Aira, who was copying what he was doing, which made some of the male students around them blush in envy. She greeted him good morning with a smile and asked what they were doing there. He was surprised and asked how her injuries were and if she was okay now, to which Aira nodded. She explained that Queen Sensei kept massaging her back, and before she knew it, she was already healed. Okarun was taken aback and deeply amazed, while Aira added that Queen Sensei possessed the power to heal people's injuries, noting that those were her exact words. She also said that even though Queen Sensei had powers, she didn't think she was any kind of enemy, and commented that she was actually incredibly kind. After that, she said that when they arrived at the hospital, Queen Sensei spent nearly an hour throwing up in the bathroom. She explained that she said the level of her illness reflected the amount of healing energy she had to provide. Aira then pointed out that if Queen Sensei was really an enemy, she wouldn't have done something like that, and Okarun agreed. Aira then cheerfully asked what exactly they were doing, to which Okarun clarified that apparently, it was some kind of training to increase his spiritual power. Aira understood and asked if that was the same thing Gigi had to do, to which he replied that it wasn't easy. He added that apparently, if one could draw up his chi properly, even if someone pushed him, he wouldn't budge. Because of that, Aira playfully decided to push him, making him lose his balance a bit, which led him to scold her, prompting Aira to tease him, saying that was an epic fail since he still moved. Then suddenly, a man shouted from in front of them, telling them to stop, commenting that he was jealous of their flirting so early in the morning, which caught their attention. Okarun was thrilled when he saw that it was Gigi, who was dancing energetically and happily exclaimed that he had missed them so much. Gigi immediately hugged Okarun afterward, leaving him shocked by his return, while Aira asked how Momo was and what had happened. Gigi's expression turned serious, and just when it seemed like he was about to deliver bad news, he suddenly brightened up again, bursting with energy as he exclaimed that she was all better now, which made Aira cheer in relief and comment that she wondered if Momo would come to school today. Gigi then pointed to their side and said that she'd shown up right on cue, prompting both Okarun and Aira to look. A look of awe washed over Okarun's face when he saw Momo's signature socks approaching, and soon enough, he saw her in full, back to her normal size, with Vamola happily waving beside her. They locked eyes for a moment, but it seemed that Okarun was the only one who felt pure happiness judging by their reaction. Aira joyfully greeted Momo, saying she had really come back, and added with a playful tone that she was so cute when she was tiny, to which Momo gave no reply. Vamola ran toward Okarun, happily saying that they were back, so he welcomed her, while Gigi jumped up and down cheering in excitement. Okarun tried to talk to Momo to welcome her too, but she responded weakly and uncertainly with a confused thanks, which immediately made him curious and concerned. Aira then jumped in and said to hold on a second. She asked where Momo's enthusiasm had gone and why she was acting with such attitude. She pointed out that they had been so worried about her, sounding slightly irritated, so Gigi stepped in and tried to calm her down, saying she should let him explain first. Momo then asked who Aira even was, which left both Okarun and Aira shocked and confused. Gigi quickly moved between them, nervously shouting for them to wait and let him explain, and asked them to stop. But Momo wasn't backing down and leaned forward with annoyance, saying that Aira was the one with the attitude. Because of that, Momo and Aira started arguing, making Gigi lean to the side with a deeply worried expression as he pleaded for Momo to stop talking for now. Annoyed, Momo pointed out everything Aira had done, coming at her like she knew her, talking about her enthusiasm, and saying she had attitude, then insisted that she should just shut up. Aira, growing irritated as well, asked what she was even saying and called her a dumb skank, while Vamola looked on in confusion and Okarun began to worry. Momo grew angrier and shouted who she was calling a skank, calling Aira one in return. Aira fired back that she only turned away for 1 second, and there she was, polished into a perfect skank. Momo replied that what she was saying didn't even make sense while still calling her a skank, then added that she should at least learn how to speak clearly. The two of them were fully heated now, while Vamola shouted between them in panic, and Gigi, oddly enough, sighed in relief, saying that everything was finally back to normal, which Okarun immediately denied, saying that it wasn't, and that everything was wrong. Moments later, as they continued walking towards school, Gigi explained that Momo had developed amnesia. He added that they didn't know from what point she lost her memories, but her memories of meeting them, at least, had completely disappeared. He also informed them that they had been attacked in Shimane, and Miss Seiko was badly injured. He added that Momo had prioritized Miss Seiko's life over lifting her own curse. After that, he said that the priest there came rushing to help and lifted the curse, but it was just a bit too late. Because of this, Okarun began remembering all the moments he shared with Momo, the happy times and the heartfelt memories they had together. Gigi continued and said that Momo seemed confused too, and she had become extremely nervous. He also said that he had spoken with Seiko about it, and she told him to leave things as they were for now. Okarun then looked at Momo, who was walking in front of him, feeling the weight and uneasiness of the situation. In the next scene, they finally arrived at school. When Momo entered their classroom, Miko was surprised and commented that it had been such a long time since they last saw each other. She also said that Momo had skipped a lot of school days, so Momo told them to listen first as she explained that she had recently lost her memories. Kei commented that it sounded mysterious. She also told them that she had gone to Shimane out of the blue, which intrigued Kei, who said that it was totally wicked. In Gigi's thoughts, he said that it seemed Momo still remembered Miko and Kei. The scene then moved to Okarun's classroom, where Vamola and Sakata were peeking at him because he was sitting quietly at his desk, head down. As he did, he remembered the times when Momo called out to him to eat lunch together, ran after him so they could walk home together, and all the moments she wanted to play around with him. He felt those memories deeply and began telling himself that Momo was always calling out to him. He said it made him happy, so he always waited for her to do it, adding that Momo calling out to him was something he always looked forward to. When the school bell rang, he opened his eyes and immediately stood up from his desk. He left the classroom, deciding that this time, he would be the one to call out to Momo, and started walking toward her classroom.